Hello there, Internet. It's that time once again to read the Bible. Uh, Today is January 20th, and we will be reading Genesis chapter 41, verse 17 to chapter 42, verse 17. My brain likes that. My brain likes it the numbers match. Anyway, uh, let's see. Do I want to do a voice? We'll try. So Pharaoh told Joseph the dream. Nah, that's. So Pharaoh told Joseph the dream. Nah, that's a fun one. We'll do the Jamaican accent from before. I only did that for a little bit. So Pharaoh told Joseph a dream. I was standing upon the bank of the Nile River, he said, when suddenly 7 fat, healthy-looking cows came up out of the river and began grazing along the riverbank. But then 7 other cows came up from the river, very skinny and bony. In fact, I've never seen such poor-looking specimens in all the land of Egypt. And these skinny cattle ate up the 7 fat ones that had come out first. And afterwards they were still as skinny as before. Then I woke up. A little later I had another dream. This time there were 7 heads of grain on one stalk, and all 7 heads were plump and full. Then out of the same stalk came 7 withered thin heads, and the thin heads swallowed up the fat ones. I told all this to my magicians, but not one of them could tell me the meaning. Both dreams mean the same thing, Joseph told Pharaoh. God was telling you what he is going to do here in the land of Egypt. The 7 fat cows and also the 7 fat, well-formed heads of grain mean that there are 7 years of prosperity ahead. The 7 skinny cows and also the 7 thin and withered heads of grain indicate that there will be 7 years of famine following the 7 years of prosperity. So God has showed you what he is about to do. The next 7 years will be a period of great prosperity throughout all the land of Egypt. But afterwards, there will be 7 years of famine so great that all the prosperity will be forgotten and wiped out. Famine will consume the land. The famine will be so terrible that even the memory of the good years will be erased. The double dream gives double impact, showing that what I have told you is certainly going to happen. For God has decreed it, and it's going to happen soon. My suggestion is that you find the wisest man in Egypt and put him in charge of administering the nationwide farm program. Let Pharaoh divide Egypt into 5 administrative districts, and let the officials of these districts gather into the royal storehouses all the excess crops for the next 7 years, so that there will be enough to eat when the 7 years of famine come. Otherwise, disaster will surely strike. Joseph's suggestions were well received by Pharaoh and his assistants. As they discussed who should be appointed for the job, Pharaoh said, "Who could do it better than Joseph? For he is a man who is obviously filled with the Spirit of God." Turning to Joseph, Pharaoh said to him, "Since God has revealed the meaning of the dreams to you, you are the wisest man in the country. I am hereby appointing you to be in charge of this entire project. What you say goes throughout all the land of Egypt. I alone will outrank you." Then Pharaoh placed his own signet ring on Joseph's finger as a token of his authority, and dressed him in beautiful clothing, and placed a royal gold chain about his neck, and declared, "See, I have placed you in charge of all the land of Egypt." Pharaoh also gave Joseph the chariot of his second in command, and whenever he went out, the shout arose, "Kneel down And Pharaoh declared to Joseph, I, the king of Egypt, swear that you shall have complete charge over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh gave him a name meaning he has the godlike power of life and death. And he gave him a wife and a girl named Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of the Heliopolis. So Joseph became famous throughout the land of Egypt. He was 30 years old as he entered the service of the king. Joseph went out from the presence of the Pharaoh and began traveling across the land. Sure enough, for the next 7 years, there were bumper crops everywhere. During those years, Joseph requisitioned for the government a portion of all the crops grown throughout Egypt, storing them in nearby cities. After 7 years of this, the granaries were full to overflowing, and there was so much that no one kept track of the amount. During this time before the arrival of the first famine of the famine years, two sons were born to Joseph by Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of the sun god Re of Heliopolis. Joseph named his oldest son Manasseh, meaning made to forget, which he meant was that God had made up to him for all the anguish of his youth and for the loss of his father's home. The second boy was named Ephraim, meaning fruitful. For God had made me fruitful in this land of my slavery, he said. So at last the 7 years of plenty came to an end. Then the 7 years of famine began. Just as Joseph had predicted, there were crop failures in all the surrounding countries too. But in Egypt there was plenty of grain in the storehouses. The people began to starve. They pleaded with Pharaoh for food, and he sent them to Joseph. Do whatever he tells you to, he instructed them. So now, with severe famine all over the world, Joseph opened up the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians and to those from other lands who came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph. When Jacob heard that there was grain available in Egypt, he said to his sons, Why are you standing around looking at one another? I have heard that there is grain available in Egypt. Go down and buy some for us before we all starve to death. So Joseph's 10 older brothers went down to Egypt to buy grain. However, Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother Benjamin go with him, for fear some harm might come to him, as it had to his brother Joseph, or so he thought. So it was that Israel's sons arrived in Egypt along with many others from many lands to buy food, for the famine was severe in Canaan, as it was everywhere else. Since Joseph was governor of all Egypt and in charge of the sale of grain, it was to him that his brothers came and bowed low before him with their faces to the earth. Joseph recognized them instantly, but pretended he didn't. Where are you from? He demanded roughly. Oh, roughly. Let me say that again in the proper tense. Where are you from? He demanded roughly. From the land of Canaan, they replied. We have come to buy grain. Then Joseph remembered the dreams of long ago. But he said to them, You are spies. You have come to see how destitute the famine has made our land. No, no, they exclaimed. We have come to buy food. We are our brothers and honest men, sir. We are not spies. Yes, you are, he insisted. You have come to see how weak we are. Sir, they said, there are 12 of us brothers, and our father is in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is with their father, and one of our brothers is dead. So, Joseph asked, what does this prove? You are spies. This is the way I will test your story. I swear by the life of Pharaoh that you are not going to leave Egypt until this younger brother comes here. One of you go and get your brother. I'll keep the rest of you here, bound in prison. Then we'll find out whether your story is true or not. If it turns out you don't have a younger brother, then I know you are spies. So he threw them all into jail for 3 days. Little turn around. All right. We go into Matthew. I am sorely tempted to keep doing his voice because it's rather addicting. I'm not gonna lie. It's very fun to talk in this kind of combat. But variety, the spice of life. Some good Jamaican. Anyway, um, Caribbean Jack. That was the spice I was thinking of from Buffalo Wild Wings. Sponsor me. Just kidding. All right. Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 through 46. We'll do we'll do a different accent. Here is another illustrious illustration Jesus used. The kingdom of heaven is like a farmer sowing good seed in his field. But one night, as he slept, his enemy came and sowed thistles among the wheat. When the crop began to grow, the thistles grew too. The farmer's man came and told him, "Sir, the field where you planted that choice seed is full of thistles." "An enemy has done it," he exclaimed. "Shall we pull out the thistles?" they asked. "No," he replied. "You'll hurt the wheat if you do. Let both grow together until the harvest, and I will tell the reapers to sort out the thistles and burn them, and put the wheat in the barn." Here is another of the illustrations. The kingdom of heaven is like a tiny mustard seed planted in a field. It is the smallest of all seeds, becomes the largest of plants, and grows into a tree where birds come and find shelter. He also used this example. The kingdom of heaven can be compared to a woman making bread. She takes a measure of flour and mixes in the yeast until it permeates every part of the dough. Jesus constantly used these illustrations when speaking to the crowds. In fact, because the prophet said that he would use so many, he never spoke to them without at least one illustration, also known as a parable. I, I dislike this translation of the Bible because it doesn't use the right words. It means the same thing and all, but I like my words. I like it to say parable. I like it to say ark. I like it to say things the way I know they should be said. Eh, there's the right way, my way. All right, I had my rant. Let me continue. For it had been prophesied, "I will talk in parables. I will explain mysteries hidden since the beginning of time." Then, leaving the crowds outside, he went into the house. His disciples asked him to explain to them the illustration of the thistles and the wheat. "All right," he said. "I am the farmer who sows the choice seed. The field is the world, and the seed represents the people of the kingdom. The thistles are the people belonging to Satan. The enemy who sowed the thistles among the wheat is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. Just as in this story the thistles are separated and burned, so shall it be at the end of the world. I will send my angels, and they will separate out of the kingdom every temptation and all who are evil, and throw them into the furnace and burn them. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the godly shall shine as the sun in their Father's kingdom. Let those with ears listen. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure a man discovered in a field. In his excitement, he sold everything he owned to get enough money to buy the field and get the treasure too. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a pearl merchant on the lookout for choice pearls. He discovered a real bargain, a pearl of great value, and sold everything he owned to purchase it. I almost slipped into a different accent there. But we finished. That was kind of Eastern European, not quite Russian, but close. Kind of the general area. Alright, so let's see. You could do Swedish. Yeah, why not? We do Swedish. Lord, how I love you, for you have done such tremendous things for me. The Lord of my fort, where I can enter and be safe. No one can follow me in to slay me. He is a rugged mountain where I hide. He is my savior, a rock where none can reach me, and a tower of safety. Can you tell I don't really know any Swedish people? This is mostly from the Swedish chef. At least I'm not going horgy borgy dorgy. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought from my own accent. He is my shield. He is like a strong horn of a mighty fighting bull. All I need to do is cry to him, "Oh, praise the Lord! I am saved from all my enemies." Death bound me with chains, and the flood of ungodliness mounted a massive attack against me. Trapped and helpless, I struggled against the ropes that drew me unto death. In my distress, I screamed to the Lord for his help, and he heard me from heaven. My cry reached his ears. Then the earth rocked and reeled, and mountain shook and trembled. How they quaked, for he was angry. Fierce flames leaped from his mouth, setting fire to the earth. Smoke blew from his nostrils. He bent the heavens down and came to my defense. Thick darkness was beneath his feet. Mounted on a mighty angel, he sped swiftly to my aid, wings of wind. He enshrouded himself with darkness. Veiling approached sweet dense clouds, dark and murky waters. Suddenly the brilliance of his presence broke through the clouds with lightning and a mighty storm of hail. The Lord thundered in the heavens. The God above all gods had spoken. Oh, the hailstones! Oh, the fire! He flashed his fearful arrows and lightning and routed all my enemies. See how they'd run. Then at your command, O Lord, the sea receded from the shore. All that blast of your breath depths were laid bare. That was fun too, though I'm pretty sure I didn't get it even remotely close to actual Swedish. But that was fun. Um, Proverbs for the day. Oh, I forgot to say what verses that was. I think that was Psalm chapter 18, verses 1 through 15. And finally, we'll do Proverbs chapter 4, verses 1 through 6. Hmm, can't think of anything else. Young man, listen to me as you would your father. Listen and grow wise. For I speak the truth, don't turn away. For I too was once a son, tenderly loved by my mother, and as an only child, and the companion of my father. It took me never to forget his words. If you follow them, he said, you will have a long and happy life. Learn to be wise, he said, and develop good judgment and common sense. I cannot overemphasize this point. Cling to wisdom. She will protect you. Love her, and she will guide you. All right, we had a few accents in there. I'll leave it up to you whether which ones were successful and which ones weren't. But either way, I hope you enjoyed tonight's reading, and I'll see you again. And most importantly, God bless.